Good morning. It's Wednesday, February 5th, 2025. So, no juicing today, no smoothies today. I'm pet sitting and I just didn't feel like carrying any of my equipment over here. It's just heavy enough to carry the things, the necessities. Definitely my matcha is a necessity. And so, okay, I have a lot to do today, as always, and I don't have words of wisdom today, so I'm going to let the cards choose our wisdom today. This is the Keepers of the Light deck. I love my cards. I think I'm just going to read one card. This one feels good. I'm not going to ask my spirit guides. The Miriam, Sacred Vision. Choose to forgive in order to heal. See the light in all. Remember that love has no boundaries. I'm really struggling with some things today, several things that are really upsetting me. Just my health, people who are assholes, and just roadblocks for me helping these kitties, my lack of energy. So under M or the? Miriam. The Miriam. Elemento P. QRST. The Divine, the Holy Spirit, the Miriam. Sacred Vision, choose to forgive in order to heal. See the light in all. Remember that love has no boundaries. The Miriam, which means the beloved, are twin flame angels who come as one. They are mirror images of each other. They are the angels who appeared to Mary Magdalene in the tomb of Jesus after his passing. These angels spoke directly to Mary and helped her move beyond her grief so that she was able to commune with Jesus once more. They can help us move beyond the cloud of grief as well. They heal grievances of all kinds, including ones that have been created by religion or the idea that God does not love or accept us because of a mistake we once made. Interesting. So That's true. God's love is infinite and has no boundaries. So if you're a serial killer, God still loves you. That's freaking crazy. But in our human mind, it's quite possible that religion caused people to become violent. So that's something to consider. Because with religion comes so much ego. For some. For others, possibly so much humbleness that there's no faith in oneself. It can go to the extreme either way. But it doesn't matter who you are or what you've done. God's love is infinite. There's no boundaries in love. The only kind of boundaries we should have or that we need because of our society that's so toxic here in the United States is boundaries that keep people from, harming us in any way, mentally or physically. Healthy boundaries. We're taught that property is ours and that we need fences. We're taught that countries belong to us and separate from another country. Everything is connected to the divine. Everything. So I'm connected to the divine. You're connected to the divine. The dog right here behind me, she's connected to the divine. Everything. And so we all come from that same source. We're all the same. We have differences in our physical, and obviously we have different personalities, but our physical parts look different because we're all having a very different and unique human experience. Once we're out of this body, we're just going to be spirit. We're going to be a ball of energy, a consciousness. And so, whether you are Native American or Scottish or African or Greek, it doesn't matter. You're just having a human experience. We have the same DNA. We're all human, or a good amount of human anyway, what we would consider human. I know for me, I have Neanderthal DNA. It's still in my DNA. It hasn't been whitewashed by the human, the Homo sapien. So, and I have some unknown DNA. Probably some angel DNA or maybe Pleiadian. I'm not really sure. Or maybe a little of both. So, but it doesn't matter. I'm having a human experience in this human body. I am of spirit. And for some fucked up reason, I chose this life. I'd love to deny it and say that that's not true, but spirit guides say it is true. I'm a little upset with... I'm not upset with my spirit guides. I'm upset with life life in general right now. So much toxicity, so much evil, so much selfishness and narcissism. Oh my God. Ego. I mean, I still have ego, yes. But my ego is very in check, and I strive daily to live outside of myself for the greater good. And I'm exhausted from it. But you know what? I could be sitting in that living room watching TV, watching Outlander, because there's still a couple more episodes I need to watch. You know, I paid for a year's subscription of Stars. My TV has been in the closet since the end of November. I've not turned the TV on here other than to listen to music. This is the choice I made. It's just that some days are really hard. And there's not really any support for me. I don't have support. I don't have a support team. We all need support teams. So, I mean, I've got my spirit guides, obviously. They're very helpful, and my guardian angel. So I have that. All right. Okay, so where were we? So the Miriam heal grievances of all kinds, including ones that have been created by religion or the idea that God does not love or accept us because of a mistake we once made. And really, did we make a mistake, or did we just do the best we could at that time, at that moment? With that, doing your best in that moment, how is that a mistake? It's not. So I don't always agree completely with these cards, but the general message is what's needed. The Miriam help us remember that we don't need to ask God for forgiveness because he never condemned us in the first place. That's a human thing. Condemnation, forgiveness, that's a human thing. That's not a spiritual thing. And we have been brainwashed to believe it, that God condemns. No, he doesn't. He, it, she, whatever, doesn't matter. God is a source. God doesn't have a physical, is not of the physical world. So, you know, gender is non-specific for the divine. And we need to quit making such a big fucking deal out of gender. It doesn't matter. If you want to be super feminine, be super feminine. If you want to be super masculine without being toxic. But if you just want to be a normal, regular person that wants to wear jeans one day and a dress another day, then do it. You know, many cultures, men wear dresses. So why in the US do we have to judge everything? Like, everything is under a microscope. Ooh. We've been brainwashed. If I loved another woman, then God has no issue with that. God doesn't care. God would be happy that I'm in love. It would be part of my human experience. I've had a couple of girl crushes. There was one woman who I met in New Hampshire who I still think is the most beautiful, incredible person I've ever met. Her heart is so pure, and she's so selfless and just kind. The girl crush part of me was her, how incredible she was. You know, it wouldn't have mattered if she was a man or a woman. It was who that person is. And just the beauty of that person's existence. So, it doesn't matter. We need to stop focusing on that and focusing on how to be a united people and be at peace. Okay. This is a real opportunity for you to move beyond grief or grievance. So grief or grievances. At this time, the Miriam are here swirling their holy light all around you so that you can regain a sense of union with spirit. You are loved beyond words. Choose to see the light of God in everyone and everything and to love without boundaries. Even myself. I have boundaries in my love. I'm practicing unconditional love, but I recognize the boundaries. The person that I love unconditionally, completely is my son, Micah. And he knows that without a doubt. That I love him unconditionally. There's nothing he could do. I just love him so much, and I'm so grateful that I have this kind of love for my child. I would I would pray and hope that all parents can have that kind of love for their child, that they would lay down their life for their child. No matter what, no matter absolutely what. I'll share a story, I guess, since I had nothing to say. When Micah was little, So my dad was a monster. He was a very unique individual where he could do almost anything. If he decided he was going to plant a garden, he could plant that garden and he could get everything he planted to grow. Everything grew. He could work the soil. He worked with the soil. He had dowsing rods that he used, tree branches. He could find water. I mentioned that in another video. But he was sadistic and mean, incredibly cruel. And my dad was a part of the white supremacist group in Arizona, and they had a branch of white supremacists that had a motorcycle gang. And, you know, I don't know what they were off doing, but not good things. My dad did end up in prison, and then we moved from Arizona to Wyoming because he made a deal and he got out of prison. So, but all the money we had, like at that time, 1974, 75, that was a lot, to have thousands of dollars, you were quite wealthy. Hundreds of thousands. So, we went from that to my dad being in prison to moving to Wyoming and living in small spaces and fishing and hunting and living off the land, which was wonderful. We just had a real big change. I had to leave all my friends behind, my life, start over. And what was I going to talk about? There was a point. What was the point? Let me read this again and see if it'll come back to me. Something about loving your children, unconditional love. Well, okay, so I know I was going in this one direction, and let's see if the point will come back to me. So, there was something that he did that I was going to be very specific about. Also, my dad was born on June 14th. Frumpy was born on June 14th. They're almost the same person. It's almost like Frumpy and my dad were each other's doppelganger. But they weren't born the same year. So I think that because of that, it's not possible, but I don't really know enough to say. So, when I think about Frumpy's children, I think, especially for his daughter, what is her name? Iana? I can't remember her name. The stress of trying to be good enough for your father because he's a narcissist, so you can never be good enough. Yeah. I mean, in public, he tries to portray that she's the perfect daughter, but I'm sure in secret, he tries to he makes her feel like she's not enough. Anyway, I wish I remembered the point I was going to make. Something about forgiveness, reconciliation, God's got no boundaries. I mean, I guess even my dad, as horrible, you know, he devastated people. He literally devastated people. You know how Trump devastates people? Like, he would hire people to work for him and then he wouldn't pay them. He would have Mexicans working at some of his hotels, and they would work for 2 weeks, and then on payday, they wouldn't get paid, or they'd get paid half. And he'd criticize and say, well, you're not cleaning good enough. Clean better. You know, very fucking toxic. And that was my dad. He did that to people, you know. So there was a good side to him. And there was a very toxic, cruel side to him. My dad has been dead for a very long time, and I worked for many years to forgive everything and to heal from everything, all the constant PTSD I suffered, like constantly PTSD. Sometimes I would have a PTSD episode twice a day. Something else would cause PTSD. Oh, I was going to talk about a dream I had about my son Micah. So people are always calling me when I'm doing a video. All right, so I'm going to share a story with you that's very, it's going to be really hard for people to hear. And I mean, is there still pain in this story for me? Absolutely. There always will be some pain. But I mean, there's been years of healing from it as well. So my dad was a pilot as well, and he flew airplanes. And I sucked my thumb. Obviously, I was traumatized. I sucked my thumb, I bit my nails, and it drove my dad nuts. And I wet the bed. So I was just a little girl, just like, you know, preschool, kindergarten age. And so 4 or 5. And my dad wanted me to stop. And I couldn't stop. So he took my thumb and he put it on the cutting board and he put a knife on my thumb and he drew blood. And he tormented me, saying he was going to cut off my thumb if I didn't stop sucking my thumb. And he was going to cut off all my fingers if I didn't stop biting my nails. Guess who didn't stop sucking their thumb and didn't stop biting their nails? I did, thank God, finally stop wetting the bed. But he, in his airplane, he took me up, he put a parachute on me, and because I wouldn't behave, he was going to throw me out of the airplane. He terrorized me at 4 or 5 years old and took me up in the airplane, and he put it on autopilot, and he had the parachute on me. He opened the door, he held me, and he pushed me up to the edge of the door, where the door was opening, doorway. And I'm screaming, "Daddy, don't, Daddy, don't." And he said, "Are you going to behave yourself? Are you going to stop wetting the bed? Are you going to stop? Da, la, la, la." I said, "Yes, Daddy, yes, Daddy. Don't kill me." And he told me that I probably wasn't strong enough to pull the ripcord on the parachute. How does that even make sense, to put it on me and then tell me I wasn't strong enough to pull it? I don't know if he actually intended to push me, because there were many times he had me at death's door, kill me. And but I promised I'd be good and I'd never wet the bed again, or suck my thumb, or bite my fingernails, or eat my hair. I used to eat my hair. I just chew on it and rip it. So that's part of why I'm afraid of heights. That's a big part of it. I'm terrified of being up high. And I overcome it sometimes, but sometimes I don't. That's why, part of why I don't like bridges. I'm afraid that bridges are going to collapse beneath me and I'm going to fall. And so that's a degree of torment that I don't even understand how I'm this person based on that. I really wish that people would stop texting me. Excuse me. Why am I telling you this story? It has to do with my son, Micah. So I had this fear that something would happen to my son constantly. I was in constant fear that something would happen to my son. And I would plead the blood of Jesus over him day and night, begging his guardian angel to keep him safe, worry about him all the time. It aged me. And I had this reoccurring dream, and I would be afraid that something was going to harm him, and he was going to be pushed, and he was going to fall like off a cliff. I kept having these dreams of something pushing him or throwing him, or him falling off a cliff or off of a high place. And I would cry. I would be sobbing. I would be just a fucking mess, because I was too afraid to jump and grab him and break his fall. And I was so sad because I wasn't brave enough. My terror, my fear paralyzed me. And then one time I was having the dream, and I said, I am sick of this. I'm sick of this. And I'm in my dream, and it's very real. And I said, fuck it. And my son was going over the cliff, my son Micah, just a little boy. And I jumped, and I grabbed him. And we fell together, and I broke his fall. And it was at that moment that I knew that no matter what happened, I would be brave enough to protect my son. So when I was talking about unconditional love, that you would do anything for your child, for me, in my very fucked up mentality, state of mind, I felt victorious. I'd finally proven to myself that I could do anything to protect my son, even if it meant jumping off a cliff to save him. And the dreams stopped. I'm sure it was the enemy bringing these dreams to constantly torment me. When you grow up in a tormented household, the tormenting doesn't stop, because there's entities that are introduced into your life through your parents that stay with you, and they constantly torment you. And even though I was a Christian, I was still being tormented. And I was prayed over, and I prayed, and I was prayed over, and I prayed. But the tormenting didn't stop. It was something inside of me that stopped it. And so I guess my point was, but it seems not as big of a deal now that I've told this long story, that I have truly experienced unconditional love for my son. I've already experienced it, that I know I will do whatever. It was as real as if it was actually happening, but it was a dream. Or it was another reality. I don't really know. But unconditional love is attainable for those who don't believe that it is. It is. It absolutely is. So, let's finish this message. You are loved beyond words. Choose to see the light of God in everyone and everything, and to love without boundaries. Honor others and honor yourself with your sacred vision. You are in a space of deep healing and forgiveness. Choosing to see the light of the world will help you grow even more. And that's true. Look to the light. That's how you get through. And, you know, to just kind of finish this story off, it was about a year ago, my dad kept trying to come through. Like with Reiki, we call upon our ascended ancestors from the third heaven and above. And I kept feeling my dad trying to come through. I was like, oh no, you're not in the third heaven. You're not, you're not welcome here. And I wouldn't let him come through. I said no. So my dad gave me a dream. And the dream was, so my biggest dream, like when you have a dream for your life, was to have this farm and to live on this farm and to grow my own food. My foot is going to sleep. Ouch. And to grow food and to harvest enough that I could have this little farm stand and I could sell to people. They could just drive up and they could buy stuff and, have some food from my farm. That was always my dream. And so, anyway, I'm sorry, my foot really hurts. It went right to sleep. I can't sit in high top chairs because when my feet dangle, they go to sleep. So at some point I'm going to try to stand up. I can't stand up right now. I'd fall. So, my dad was there. It was like my dad, but like not my dad, because this was a man who was happy, joyful, filled with love, loving, and just joyful. That wasn't my dad. So I was having a dream, but yet I was denying it was him, but yet I was acknowledging that it was him all at the same time. And he was at the farm stand with me, helping me sell vegetables. And he was just loving on me and just being the dad that every daughter deserves. And he was being that dad. And he was helping me. We were working together. Both of us with our super duper 2 green thumbs. He was there. And he told me that he loved me. And he told me that he was sorry. And I woke up feeling really I think every day since then I've woke up happy, except for maybe 1 or 2 days. I wake up happy. Not just that my dad told me sorry or that he told me that he loved me, but that I knew that through all the torment, all the horrible, horrible abuse that I suffered because of him, that I had reached a place of forgiveness and I had healed from that. It still kind of hurts, but not the way it did. And so, it elevated me spiritually in such a way that life looks so different. To have been able to forgive such atrocities. And so, when I talk about forgiveness and when I talk about unconditional love, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I lived it. I did it. I achieved it. And it wasn't easy. It's been a very hard path. But I did it. And so let me just encourage anybody who has unforgiveness from childhood trauma. You know, and I didn't do this through counseling. Fucking counselors are fucking worthless. I've had counselors, I went to a counselor in New Hampshire. Once we started deep diving, she said, I'm going to have to refer you to someone else. I can't work with you. This is just too much for me. I had a counselor in Wyoming that told me to look at my poop every day. How is looking at poop every day going to heal me emotionally? He just said stupid fucking shit like that. I left there feeling worse because of the things he would say. It was almost like he blamed me. He put everything back on me. A lot of times counselors become counselors because they think they've healed from their trauma and they haven't. And they traumatize their patients. So I healed with the help of my guardian angel, my spirit guides, the divine, and just strong will. I healed for my son because I saw how my unhealing was harming him and I couldn't bear it. So I healed for him. And I told him about a year ago or less, I said, sweetheart, I am trying my very best to be the best mom I can be for you. He said, Mom, I really believe that. Thank you. I mean, it was very evident to him. So, forgiveness, healing. And I don't know, I mean, betrayal is difficult. And I have a betrayal that I've been wrestling with, what to me felt like a betrayal that I've been wrestling with. I mean, I'm just going to throw this out there because I feel like being a bitch right now. And not necessarily just a bitch, but I just feel like saying it. When you have a best friend who you call upon and say, I need you, and they're like, I can't, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. Okay. I get it. We just went through a hell of a hurricane. I get it. Then you call a few days later, a week later, and you say, hey, I really need you, best friend. I'm sorry, I'm with my boyfriend. I'm not available to you right now. You can come over here, but he's there. I'm not talking about my trauma to a man I don't know well enough and who, according to her, doesn't believe in a lot of things I do, like my Reiki. According to her, he doesn't believe in that. So how is that a safe space for me to go to her house? I would have if he hadn't have been there. That wouldn't have been a big deal to me. So then another week goes by, and I'm really feeling my trauma. And this was what I thought was the kind of relationship that we had. Apparently I was wrong. I said, hey, I really need your help. I really need your help. I'm with him. I can't right now. What kind of fucking best friend? What kind of person, even a stranger, when you ask for help, denies you? Who fucking does that? So betrayal, it feels like betrayal of friendship, because I put a lot of love and energy into that friendship. A lot. I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm saying that because I put so much into it, it hurts so much more. The betrayal was deeper. So when you love deeply, you take a risk. So will I take that risk again? Absolutely. The joys of having a best friend, there's just almost nothing like it other than being a mother to a very beautiful little boy. So, I am wrestling with that. I am healing from that betrayal. I'm like out of my fucking mind being able to try to comprehend where can you be mentally that you deny somebody you supposedly love. You deny them when they say, I need help. I can't deny a stranger help, let alone a best friend. So yeah, I'm wrestling with that, and I feel like this message is for a lot of people out there, but it's also for me. The Miriam are here swirling their holy light all around you so that you can regain a sense of union with spirit. When you have unforgiveness in your heart, it does separate you to some degree. Now, when I do Reiki, it doesn't necessarily matter because I'm a conduit for Reiki. And Reiki goes through me regardless, but I'll tell you, I feel like my Reiki is better when my heart is pure. So you are loved beyond words. Choose to see the light of God in everything and everyone, and to love without boundaries. Honor others and honor yourself with your sacred vision. You are in a space of deep healing and forgiveness, and I am. This is deep for me. And I'm there. I'm getting there. I'm almost there. You know. But has she done anything to try to repair this? Nothing. So, which also breaks my heart. She loves me, but she can't do anything to repair. What the fuck, man? Because she doesn't love herself. That's the problem. Honor others and honor yourself with your sacred vision. You are in a space of deep healing and forgiveness. Choosing to see the light of the world will help you grow even more. So this is my sign. Here's your sign. I need to forgive that shit and move on. I've got bigger things to deal with. If I could forgive my dad, I can forgive anything, right? It's just betrayal is hard. Betrayal is the difficult one. It really damages your heart. So I've got to go. I've got a shit ton of things to do and I'm hungry. So I pray that everybody have a beautiful day, love and light.